A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Yeah, boy, welcome into High Noon on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. We are live at the Brat Stop in Kenosha. My name is Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Tommy Wirtz is in the studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And Mason is wherever he wants to be because he knows the Packers are that much better than the Bears. And it doesn't matter where Mason is because Packers are the Alphas. Let's go.
Man, you're fired up. How many brats have you had? Do you have about 15 brats already getting this thing going?
I went with the Italian beef. Josh Albrecht from Inside Wisconsin Sports, he went with the brat.
Okay.
The Italian beef was great. But it's funny because we have like this little setup in the corner, and 670 the score has the stage. It's like they need the little brother, like, who feels bad about themselves to have all the spotlight and all the lights and all the everything.
Or is it more like they think that like they are maybe the big brother, the big city, all that, and they just feel like they need to put little brother in the corner who has gotten better than them and is actually like.
Right. Exactly.
They're like, oh gosh, like we need to still feel like we're important.
Both ways work.
It's
Both ways work.
It's the second Step Brothers reference of the week, but it's the Derek relationship.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. I haven't had a carb since 2009 or something.
I made
right?
over $250K last year, bro. So.
I love it.
So
That's
awesome.
so good. Tommy Wirtz rocking the Jordan Love jersey. If you are watching us on YouTube and Twitter, that's at WI Sports Radio. Remember, you can find us everywhere on all the socials at that handle. You can be a part of the show, 414-677-1250. That's Nicolay Law talking text line, 414-677-1250. We're here in Kenosha, where there's a lot of Bears fans, and I'm just like, I'm sad for them already. I know I picked I am, and it's funny because yesterday on the show, I picked the Bears to win 2019. And walking through here, man, there's no way the Bears are winning this game. Like, I'm just like, I'm just feeling this vibe that maybe I played devil's advocate on purpose yesterday because I'm so bad at gambling. I'm the worst, literally. That I took the Bears on purpose.
That's the only one I hope that you miss from your picks yesterday, because that's the only one we went different on. So I'm a little nervous that I didn't go against you on our betting lines.
I know. And talking about wagering and playing, whether it's for entertainment purposes only, or if you're at the Potawatomi Sportsbook and you're having fun with it, we got to jump right in. We got a great show. Matt Spiegel from the Scores going to join us at 12:40. Randall Cobb at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then Mikey Henninger, we got to look at fantasy football because everybody's in the playoffs at 1:20. But we got to start with the Potawatomi Sportsbook, where all week the Packers were 1-point favorites in this game. And now all of a sudden we wake up today and the Bears are favored by 1.5. And my first question to you, Mason, is what changed? Like,
I'm curious about it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Because if Christian Watson's playing, I feel like that would even give the Packers a bump. They don't have their two top receivers in Adunze and Burden. So like what changed there?
I think it would.
Josh Jacobs looks like he's going to try to give it a go. Like, I don't understand.
It's got to be Zach Tom and Evan Williams up in the air, right?
Ooh,
I think that's
Zach Tom especially.
Like
Zach Tom more so. Yeah.
If Zach Tom, that might be pointing in the direction of him not playing in this contest,
right?
But I get the pressure that they put on Caleb Williams and like the game plan they had to play in that last game, but I just feel like until the second half, I mean, stop the run, did all of that. Like, I feel like defensively, minus Micah Parsons, I do think Evan Williams helps in the run game quite a bit and is a good in that back end. But defensively, I'm not sure that the Bears are going to be able to do like that much more than they did in that first game against the Packers.
So one thing I do want to throw out there is, actually, there's a couple of things I'll throw out there. One is, there is the element of like the whales wait till later in the week to make their bets. And maybe they were just waiting to see what the line was going to do before they took the Bears. The other thing, and I don't know if this has any influence on it, Seattle winning last night, does the home team winning that matchup, that tremendous game that we saw in overtime last night, does Seattle's win change this line at all, that the home team maybe shouldn't be the underdog, as the Rams were favored by 1.5 points in that game? That maybe the home team should be favored when you have these huge divisional matchups toward the end of the season. Do you think there's something to that, Mason?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention, but
nice.
Our dog is at the vet. She ate something, and I was reading.
Oh no! All right,
I thought
time out.
Sorry, you can read. I'll refocus.
That's okay.
We don't know. That was Molly's text. She was texting everyone at the house, like, try to find out what maybe she had gotten into.
I have a friend who this weekend ate some brownies that were laced with some fun
well, we don't have those lying around the house.
No, I figured you didn't. But it was, obviously with a dog, you're much more concerned about the chocolate than the fun plant. All right, so they get a little buzzed, but you're more worried about the chocolate, right? With dogs,
what they're worried about is at the vet, I guess, if she went upstairs and ate like kinetic sand or ate something, like, I guess that can kill dogs, which is not good.
Nope.
And then, the kids throw stuff on the floor, like they have these, like the squishy balls or slime or things like that. Yep. So I think they're going to do some reconnaissance in the house. Sorry. All right, let's get back to ball.
Right. So back to the question. Do you think last night's game, Seattle as a home underdog, had any influence on this line, that now people are saying when you have these huge divisional games toward the end of the year, right, maybe the home team should get more credit, as and with Seattle coming back and winning that game last night, that swayed the gamblers thinking that maybe Chicago does have a little bit of an advantage here.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I do feel like, and gosh, we're going to talk a lot about this with Randall Cobb as well, at the 1:00 hour. So I'll say a little bit and then we'll revisit it, but weird things happen in Seattle. So I'm not sure, and now I'm excited and nervous about the weekend because of what that game was last night. I feel like that kind of chaotic, game and that exciting, wild game, how it ended up with the backwards pass for the 2-point conversion to tie the game, a missed field goal by the Rams, all these things, how that game unfolded. Weird things always happen in Seattle. They get lucky there. Stuff happens. That's why we want the Rams to be the 1 seed, because you don't want to have to go to Seattle. But now I'm thinking this whole weekend is going to be chaos in the NFL. There's going to be some games, and that could have led to the betting as well. It's at home, sometimes that ball bounces in the home team's favor a little bit more, especially late in the season, if the weather gets a little bad, all of those things. So maybe that's where some of those betting odds, turned. But I'm a little more nervous about this game this weekend just because of how that game went last night. A divisional game, playing for so much. These are like playoff games. Playoff games usually breed wild moments. So just be ready for anything and everything in this Chicago Bears versus Packers game there at Soldier Field. I'm assuming the field is probably, and this is a shout, I'm going to throw this across the bow to our 670 friends over there. That field's probably awful. They probably threw hay on top of it.
Why is your field in such bad condition?
Yell at them.
Let's go. I'm ready to fight everybody. I'm taking no prisoners today.
Have they brought out
Donkey Kong?
Have they brought out the goats yet to mow it down, just to eat patches out of it? Because that's what it seemed like sometimes when we played there late in the season.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense to me why you have an NFL field in such bad condition in one of the biggest.
They won't. Cities. Once they move to Indiana, they'll be good. Once they get to over to Indiana, they're going to take better care of it.
How about Lake Geneva, Mason? Could they just move to Lake Geneva?
That'd be nice.
That's all Chicagoans.
They might as well just go to Springfield. Just go in the middle of Illinois. Just make it Springfield, Illinois.
They got enough farmland there.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
This is the Mason Crosby Show. We're presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. That's right. We are at the Brat Stop in Kenosha. You can put your booze in a bag. That's right. I'm ready. I'm on one today.
Mitch, you are fired up, man.
I got my Sprite. So
yeah. get you a couple Mountain Dews, get this thing really revved up. Let's get it.
So back to the line switching like this, and the Bears now being a 1.5, and you're feeling a little less confident. Maybe I'm just feeling more confident because I get to be in this like swarm of filth here, but with all these Bears fans, and I'm loving it. But I just like, I think the Packers are just better. And I know, we could talk about this with Spiegel. We could talk about this with Randall Cobb. But I just feel like the Packers are a better football team. And I do believe that, like, when you fire a coach, you get a little bump. When you change quarterbacks, you get a little bump. I know you can't replace Micah Parsons, but I think they get a little bump by, like, galvanizing and getting together. And I don't think that carries into the playoffs or anything. But for 1 week against the Bears, man, I think they get together and they're like us against the world. Everybody thinks we're trash. Everybody thinks we were Micah and just like his band of merry men who suck. Well, we were good last year. Let's step up and let's make something happen. And I think that I have this false sense of security, like confidence, but I'm going with it.
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I love an overconfident Chicago Bears fan base as well, and a Chicago Bears team that is like, oh my gosh, well, they don't have Micah anymore. Like, we can do everything and anything. I do think Ben Johnson is like, he's obviously shown to be a good head coach and get this team where they're going. So I do think his personality, he's not leaning into that. But this fan base, that Chicago fan base, an overconfident bunch where they're like, oh my gosh, we're going to be able to do everything and anything we want. It's like, but you don't have your two like star receivers. Yeah, you still have DJ Moore, so that's a weapon. Yep. But if you can't run the football, where, let's be honest, like the second half of that Chicago game, they got the run game going a little bit, but in that first half, what they have 35 rushing yards? Like, it was like this Packers run defense is not like, it's not a slouch. You got great linebackers, if those interior D linemen, and then now without Micah Parsons, you're going to have Van Ness, you're going to have Enagbare, you're going to have Rashawn Garrett, you're going to have guys that are actually probably better at stopping the run than Micah Parsons is, right? So shut that run game down, force them to try to like cover up DJ Moore, double team him if you need to, and then just unleash havoc all day long. Get Caleb Williams rolling out, trying to force things, doing different things. I think I feel really good about this game, like, still. And I agree with you, Mitch. I think this Packers team on paper still is just better. They should win this game. Like, they should take control of the North and run down this stretch and find a way to get in the playoffs on a high note. I don't want this team to limp into the playoffs. I don't want them to beat Minnesota at the end of the year and they get in and it's like, oh gosh, like, all right, we're licking our wounds. This is an important game and they need to go to Chicago tomorrow and take care of business.
We are the Mason Crosby Show. We were at the Brat Stop in Kenosha, presented by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha and by Siding Unlimited. Mason, does Chicago at night scare you at all? Like that it's a Saturday night, that everybody's going to be liquored up, like it could be a wild crowd potentially. Does that, like that to me, like whenever that happened in college, like when Camp Randall had a night game, things got wild. Yeah, I don't feel like it's the same way in the pros. Is there some of that?
There's always a different energy. Yeah, that night game, a Saturday night game too, where it's like it's the only show going on in the NFL. Yep. It's just like Sunday night games. Like there is an electricity that comes along with it. So, but I think it favors the Packers just as much as it does the Bears. Like, you can feel that energy and you feel that juice. Like, those Chicago Bears fans are going to be relentless regardless if it's daytime or nighttime. They're going to be giving you the finger when you drive in. They're going to be in your ear behind the bench. They're going to be yelling. So I think it galvanizes a team. And these games come down to, like LaFleur said in his press conference, which team is going to execute at a high level, utilize their strengths well, and make the fewest mistakes, right? Like, whichever team makes fewer mistakes will come out on top. So I do, like you said, Zach Tom is probably a big worry, more so than even Micah Parsons, Evan Williams, all of those guys, just because if you have to put another offensive lineman in there and all of a sudden you have some false starts or you get a goofy penalty, something like that. Like, Jordan Love has been great with his RPOs this year, But if we if we go downfield too far on an RPO play and we get like it negates a good play, that is not good. That is not good ball. It hurts your team. So whoever's stepping into that spot, if Zach Tom can't go, if it's Jordan Morgan, if it's like whoever they put out there, needs to lock in. Don't get too big for the moment. Don't look at all the stuff. Just lock into the details and do your job.
414-677-1250 is the Nikolai Law Talk and text line. What is your confidence level now that you've seen that the Potawatomi Sportsbook line and the line throughout Vegas has changed from Packers favored by a point, some places 1.5 earlier in the week, to now the Bears being favored by 1.5. Mason Crosby, Tommy Wirtz, Mitch Nellis with you. Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha is presenting Brat Bowl 3 at the world-famous Brat Stop in Kenosha. All-day live event now until 5. So get here. It's a great experience. Make sure you visit ZieglerKenoshaSubaru.com and SidingUnlimited.com for their honest price guarantee. We're going to keep this conversation going, previewing Packers at Bears. Speegs is coming on at 12:40. Then we got Randall Cobb at 1, Mikey Fantasy Football at 1:20. An absolutely packed show here at the Broad Stop. Like I said, Tommy Wirtz is here. Mason Crosby's here. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. We are the Mason Crosby Show.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, everybody, it's Mitch Nellis live from the Brat stop. And I'm just like so excited. I'm over my skis.
You're fired up.
I am fired up. Mason Crosby's here. Tommy Wirtz is in the studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It is Packers-Bears. It's not even Packers-Bears week. It's not even Packers-Bears weekend. The game's tomorrow. It is Saturday night. We don't even have to wait till Sunday, Mason. It is tomorrow night at Soldier Field. Let's go.
I know. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. We have a holiday party at the neighbor's house across the way at the farm.
They got a TV, bro?
They'll have a TV. I'm just like, okay, so what time does it start? Maybe we can go over there at like 5:30. I'll get in my hour and a half, and then I'll be on my couch, crushing it. But like I have the last few weeks, I might be like dark on the text thread if I have to start it late. So
and I'm going to be driving. Like I'm going to be in the middle of Indiana.
Ooh, that's tough.
So I got to figure out do I get like an earpiece so the rest of the family's listening?
You'll be scouting new stadiums for the Bears. Is that what you're
saying? That's exactly. I'm Columbus, Indiana. I'm Merrillville, Indiana. I'm going to check out. I'm going to check out all the different places for the Chicago Bears to play in the future. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon. 414-677-1250 is the phone number. If you want to get in the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, you can text us. You can give us a call as well. Like Jim in Saukville, you're first up on the Mason Crosby Show.
Hey, good afternoon, fellas. I just were wondering if you could comment on the differences in making adjustments and replacing players in game versus having a week or so to prepare.
Great question.
How does it differ based on position and or player? Do some positions or players just need that extra time? And maybe the same thing with coaches.
Yeah, Jim, that's a great question. I think whenever it comes to skill players like a wide receiver, or maybe even like the cornerback position, defensively, I think you can plug in guys a little bit easier, just in certain spots. But whenever we're talking like Christian Watson last weekend, yes, you hope that they have some contingency. If a guy gets hurt, like who's going to move into that role? How do we do that? But then you throw off timing and all those reps, all that work you've done throughout the week. So I do think the wide receiver position is one of the hardest to adjust to if a guy gets hurt at that spot, because you've worked all week. That timing is there. All of those pieces. All of a sudden you have Christian Watson in the spot. Jaden Reed's playing a different wide receiver position, and then he has to maybe move to Christian Watson's spot, or you put someone else there. And now they have to remember and know all of those routes as well. So there's a lot of knowledge there. It's going to be awesome. If you're listening at 1:00, we'll ask Randall Cobb some of those same questions. He'll be an expert on knowing all those spots. And I know whenever he was in that wide receiver room, they made it a point to know every wide receiver, every position, so that if anything ever happened, they were able to adjust.
That's great. Great question, Jim. Thanks.
Yeah, that was a good question, Jim.
I had a question about another one of your former teammates. Aaron Rodgers was famous for talking about, obviously he owned the Bears and we know all that, but he was also famous for talking about how enjoyable it was to go on the road and quiet a stadium. And we ended last segment kind of talking about like the extra energy on a Saturday night, the extra energy, Packers, Bears, the extra energy for first place. How gratifying was it when you guys would go on the road in a big game and just quiet them pretty early?
There's no better feeling than being on the road. And all of a sudden, especially like I can remember some instances in like the Go Pack Go chants start in an away team's stadium, or it's just that void that is left there as you're celebrating on their turf, on their field. And like, there isn't a better feeling than doing that. I lie. There is a bit like when you do it at home as well. It's pretty awesome whenever that energy in that stadium is palpable. You can just feel the juice of winning a big game. But there is something really gratifying, and I think it's galvanizing for a team that you go on the road and you just silence a crowd and get their fans out of a game. And you can do it early, but you have to hold on to that, right? Like I've seen it like Seattle 2014. Unfortunately, we talk about that all the time. Right. We sucked the air out of that place.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it came back.
Let them back in.
You cannot let it
fake field goal. Field goal.
You can't let a team back in their home stadium, because that crowd will shift right back really fast, and they're right back in it. And it's hard. Honestly, it's hard when you suck that air out early, and then they come back into a game. Again, a fan base comes back into that and brings that momentum and that energy back into their home team. That's a hard place to recover from. And you saw it last night in that Seattle Rams game.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like, it was 30-16. I mean, 30-14.
Yeah, that place said
the game was over.
Yeah, Rams had just done everything they needed to. And then all of a sudden, by the end, you could hear it, like the missed field goal. That Seattle crowd came back with a vengeance there in that fourth quarter, and it was tough on the Rams.
Yeah, that is a great example. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talk and text line. Give us a call. Let us know what you think about the line moving in this game. Some of the things that you're watching in this game as well. I have something that I feel like, because we have all these guests, like I probably would have saved this for the end of the show, but I want to throw it out now. It might be a little blasphemous, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I think one of the reasons why I'm so confident, Mason, is that after this game, the Bears have to play the Niners and at the Lions.
Sure.
And I just feel like regardless of what happens tomorrow night, I think the Packers are still going to win the North.
They're still in a really good spot.
Right. Yeah, I'll say that. They're in a really good spot.
Everything they want to accomplish will still be in front of them because of this Bears schedule. This Bears schedule is really tough. And not that they're obviously not overlooking this game by any means, but they do have to consider the fact that they are playing the 49ers and they're playing the Lions at the end of the season. So their schedule lines up really tough. Another interesting stat, and what do y'all think of it? Nobody has claimed a division yet in the whole NFL. The NFL has to love how this season is unfolding. The fact that divisions across the league are still up in the air, lots of division games to still be played. It gets a little frustrating. I don't like that the Bears-Packers play twice in 3 weeks, but for a fan and for the viewing of the NFL, this is laying out exactly how they would hope, because the drama here at the end of this season is going to be epic.
Yeah, I think ratings-wise, the NFL's got to be absolutely thrilled. By the way, it is Bears at Niners and Bears home against the Lions. It's not at the Lions. It's home against the Lions.
At Niners, yeah.
Go ahead, Mace.
I got another question for y'all that I find interesting. Just kind of want to think about it for a sec. So say the Bears beat the Packers, and you got Aaron Rodgers playing the Lions on. Is it, if he loses to, I like this better. The Bears lose to the Packers, and then Steelers, Lions, Aaron loses to the Lions on purpose to still dominate the Bears.
I love it.
Because then it still gives the Lions a path to knock the Bears out of these playoffs, which obviously that's not the mindset or the thought, but Aaron somehow in this moment has control over the Bears in some form or fashion, even though he's not playing against them right now.
And what percent would you guarantee that Aaron knows that? And he's not going to go out to try to lose the game. Obviously, he wants to win the game. But you know that Aaron knows in the back of his mind that if the Lions win, he's going to make some joke about the Bears, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, yep, still on the Bears. That's how I do it wherever I'm at. So I wonder how he's going to keep that going when he's done playing. He probably could start a company where it's just just trolling the Bears at all times.
That would be absolutely amazing. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Talking text line. Scotty Tiffany weighs in. Love your attitude down there, Thunder. Don't let those Bears broadcasters and fans overshadow you guys. And Scotty Tiffany knows what's up. That is absolutely right. It is. There's a lot of Bears fans.
I know we don't have a lot of time left because we do have a packed around the 1 o'clock hour, but I do want to ask this as well. So watching that game last night, Matthew Stafford, unfortunately, for them they lost, but he had a unbelievable game. 457 passing yards, 4 touchdowns. Puka Nacua 200 and something yards receiving. Do you think Jordan Love has that type of game in him? Can he produce a game like that? Do you think Matt LaFleur will call and coach a game to allow Jordan Love to have that type of game. I can't remember off the top of my head. I obviously can look it up, and I don't know if Tommy could look it up real quick while I'm talking. What were Jordan Love's stats in that Dallas game where they put up 40? It was a shootout.
Yeah.
All of those saying, like, I just want to know and compare some of those stats to see what kind, like Jordan Love's best game. Can he go 450? Can he get 400 yards?
When is the last time the Packers ran 88 plays? Stafford threw 49 times, and they still ran 39 times.
How does Seattle win that game? Like two interceptions by Darnold. Like they did, offensively, like the Seattle did not. And that's what scares me about Seattle. I was looking at defenses and all that. Seattle's defense is real. Like that, they gave up some points, but they have a good defense again, which is scary if you have to go play in Seattle. You got those numbers, Tommy?
Yeah, he had 337 yards and 3 touchdowns against Dallas this year.
So really a great game, a solid game, but 457 yards.
Right.
Without Devontae Adams. I mean, it was Puka Nacua, and then Parkinson could not catch a ball to save his life.
No, he could not.
Stafford down that stretch, hit him in the hands twice, and he just dropped easy catches.
Nobody else had more than 3 catches. Puka had 12. No one else for the Rams had more than 3 to get to 17 more receptions. He used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys to get to those.
Wow,
and Puka
that's
was obviously the best. All right, we got to take a break here. We've got Matt Spiegel from Spiegel and Holmes. They're on 2 to 6 every afternoon on our little brother station, 670 The Score. They're going to so Matt's going to hey, I just call him like I see him. They're all there. I'm getting yelled at.
Mitch is in it. He's going to get in a fight.
I'm taking on everybody. Let's go.
Just say, don't get choked out. Don't get choked out. Don't John Cena us out there.
You know what? If I get choked out, I'm not tapping out. I'm not. I'm not going to smile at the camera and tap out. I'm not doing that either. He's Mason Crosby. He's Tommy Wirtz. My name's Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. We are at the Brat Stop in Kenosha. Matt Spiegel from Spiegel and Holmes coming up next here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
To be here, but you got catcalled just a little as you talked about me before the break, but it was pretty much by me.
That's fine.
I come over here to your turf, and I got catcalled by like 3 different people during the break.
Well, we appreciate you being here. I'm here, like I said, to take on everybody in the room. We like that. Like, we have to massage the ego of the people who don't have high self-esteem. You guys need the big stage, and you guys need the lights and all the fancy stuff. And we're just like salt of the earth, Milwaukeeans and Wisconsinites.
Look,
and we are here to get this done.
It's a lovely suburb. I don't want you to demean yourself in any way. We just happen to live and work in the Mecca of the Midwest. Okay, this is where people end up once they've made it. In the Midwest, we understand.
Well, Mason, we got Speaks, Mason.
What's up, Mason?
How's it going? All right, how y'all feeling? I know fan base. Micah Parsons not playing this week, torn ACL. I mean, Chicago Bears fans have to be feeling really good about where they stand. I mean, y'all beat the Browns last week, so that's a positive.
Feeling
good. This year is the best one we've had in forever. Obviously since 2018, but it feels like longer ago, maybe because we had the perspective immediately after 2018 that was kind of fluky. It was more about Vic Fangio than it was Matt Nagy and anything holistic. This is clearly holistically a different kind of team because Ben Johnson is a superstar of a head coach, and it's kind of undeniable. So we've seen all this growth, and this is really what we figured would be the bonus year, like the Cubs in 2015, like on the way towards something.
Sure.
That's what this feels like. So it all has been imbued with like some joy in that way. And then we beat the Eagles, and it was like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, wait, you can actually beat somebody real.
We can actually beat a real good team on the road at their place. And then we didn't flinch in Green Bay against you guys in the second half. Like, that to me was a big time moral victory, that second half was a massive comeback. And within a bad Caleb Williams throw of a tie or more at the end, Ben Johnson would have gone for 2. So it feels like this weekend was going to be possible even with Micah Parsons. But yeah, without Micah Parsons, this fan base smells blood in the water, and we are believing that it is finally our time as Bears fans to rise above.
I will agree with you. I mean, like, the question marks around Ben Johnson, coming on, like being offensive coordinator, what he did there with the Lions. It's like, all right, can he make himself a good head coach? And then it didn't look great, at the start of this season. Losing 2 games, just like, okay, like maybe they are just rebuilding, but yeah, like you can't say anything but but we are impressed with what Ben Johnson has done, how this organization has taken that step. What do you think this offense for the Bears is going to be able to do without 2 of their star receivers? I know Adunze's been out for a little bit. They clearly want to lean on that run game. Do you think they can sustain a good run game? And if they can't, can Caleb Williams take it on his back and lead this team to victory there at Soldier Field against this Packers team?
I thought last week was Caleb Williams' best game of the year, his most impressive game under Ben Johnson. He was more accurate than he has been in the pocket and within the structure of the offense. You know that stuff that Jared Goff does all the time, that Matthew Stafford did last night, of hitting dudes in stride, giving them the runner's ball so they can get 10, 15 extra yards after a catch in play action. Caleb's been bad at that stuff this year. He's been very inaccurate, under 60% in a lot of different games, which is crazy, but a lot of games they've won, which is even crazier. But last week, Caleb was real good. He's progressing. I hope we see that version of him. If we ever get a version of him that does that consistently, then this offensive ceiling becomes very, very different. Like maybe they are a team that can put up 35 when they need to, or 45 when they need to. Right now, they're a team that can put up 25 or maybe 30 on the strength of the run game. And we're just kind of hoping that he has hit that point where he can be that guy. I think they're going to run like crazy, but I think they have since the bye. They should have run more on you guys in the first half of that game. And if they had, I think things could have been a lot different. So, yes, I think they'll run a lot. I think the rookie tight end, Colston Loveland, has the best hands on the team and is capable of running wide receiver caliber routes athletically. And I hope and assume you'll see a lot of him targeted. But really, it's a question, as you guys know, when you're watching a quarterback, can they get through the reads? Can Caleb even get to the third option, the fourth option? You know what I mean? He hasn't been able to do that with great consistency this year. And if he does, it changes what they can do.
Yeah, for sure. And then, like, talking about like the Chicago Bears defense, obviously takeaways at a high rate. That's their bread and butter. If they don't get takeaways, how do you feel about this defense? Do you think they are a elite type defense, or do the takeaways kind of cure some of their ailments that they have on that defensive side of the ball?
No, it definitely does, man. It definitely does. They can't really get pressure with 4. And Montez Sweat is a really good player.
Yeah.
But when you pay a guy like they paid him, I think a lot of us were expecting, all right, here comes our 10, 15 sacks every year.
Right.
You know, with a requisite amount of pressures. And it's just not who he is. You know, he'll get there sometimes, but they can't get pressure with 4. So that means you got to run games to blitz and get there. And then because Jalen Johnson has been hurt and is still not his full self, and Kyler Gordon is out still, and again, actually, that's a big deal. They lost 2 real cover guys. Tyreek Stevenson is back, and that's a big deal. So maybe they'll cover more man-to-man, or they'll stay in zone. I don't know. I just know that Jordan Love is really effing good. And, like, he picked Dennis Allen's gimmickry apart in Green Bay.
Yes.
So Dennis Allen's got a lot of pressure on him. He's got to do some things differently, and hopefully the back 5 or 6 sometimes can rise up.
Matt Spiegel with us from 670 The Score, joining us here at the Brat Stop as we are here from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. 670 The Score is here as well. Mason, I'll kick it back to you.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, do you see this game in Soldier Field? Weather as the night rolls in, it's gonna, temps are gonna drop a little bit, wind's gonna be blowing. Do you see this as one of those?
Everyone's gonna be drunk.
Yeah, everyone's drinking. Do you see it as one of those kind of old-fashioned NFC North, Chicago versus Packers kind of black and blue type game, or do you think this could end up being one of those where they're trading blows and we end up seeing a shootout down the stretch? I'm just curious from a Bears perspective, how do you see this game unfolding on Saturday night?
Well, I think Ben should want, and I think will want, to control time of possession. To really,
which they did in Lambeau Field for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. And they did against the Eagles. Through 3 quarters against the Eagles, they had like a 75 to 25% break in time of possession against the freaking Eagles on the road.
That's what a running game does, right?
That's what a running game does. And I mean, these running backs are really good, and the offensive line is really, really good. So they should do that just to, for the most part, to keep the ball out of Jordan Love's hands. So hopefully they will do that. But then if that running game's effective, then with play action, maybe they can do some stuff, and then Caleb can do some crazy stuff on the edge without Micah being the one to chase him down. And Caleb can be special, and his confidence is growing. So I think it's possible that the Bears could hang blow for blow if they need to. But yeah, man, like I'm so excited that both of these teams are in a relevant spot.
Isn't it more fun?
Oh, it is. Dude, it is better.
It is so much more fun. It is like my life is better. My job is psychologically more gratifying. Like high fives in the city are not just about we're surviving the cold together. They are now about, and how about those Bears, huh? Am I right? Like having that as a source of joy is awesome, which is why we're all so pissed off at the organization for threatening us with stadium BS in the middle of a week like this.
All right, so you brought.
They had to do something, right, to steal your joy a little bit.
What?
Well, I mean, what are we doing? It is the best year we've had it feels like in decades as fans. And take a look outside. The world kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of terrible things going on in the world. We have enjoyed being in our little sports bubble like maybe never before as Bears fans, because there's literally a coach for the first time since Ditka who understands that he's got to be the final voice, and the ownership is letting him do that for the first time since that guy, and you're going to crap all over that? Wait till the end of the year. How dare you?
Well, the organization winning gives you leverage. So for the first time in a long time, they have some leverage to say like, hey, if we end up winning this North and we we get playoff games and all of that, like there's the leverage for the organization to try to get that Chicago to step up and give them the money that they're looking for.
I think they're wrong. I think they're wrong about that.
I love it.
I think the world has changed and politics has changed. The Chiefs just had to go to Kansas, right? The Chiefs are leaving the state of Missouri to get what they want, and the Bears may end up leaving to go to Indiana to get what they want, especially because our governor wants to be president. So he's not going to back down. But like, I'm offended that I have to waste brain space and airtime on this stuff. I'm offended that I have to do that in Packers Week, right?
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
Absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Right, real quick, what do you make of the line changing? Packers have been favored by a point and a half all week. Bears now favored by a point and a half. I don't know if it makes a big difference, but what did that say to you?
Bigger city, bigger money. That's why the line shifts is my first thought. But also, we smell the possibility of dysfunction. There is the chance that even if it's just a little bit at the beginning, you guys are still rattled after a very violent and damaging day in Denver and don't have Michael Parsons. There's a chance that your group esprit de corps is not where it needs to be. And that's why they beat the Eagles, because the Eagles were a dysfunctional mess and the Bears were not. So if there's any dysfunction in them as a unit, the Bears should be able to pounce on that, and maybe that'll be enough.
Mace, any final questions for Matt Spiegel?
One last question from me is with the Bears' remaining schedule, how important is this game for the Bears to try to get that W? Because they go to the Niners and then host the Lions at home, and if the Lions win out up to that point, there's hopes that they maybe get a shot. So how much pressure is there to try to get this win so those last two games are just not hanging in the balance in this tough remaining schedule for the Chicago Bears team?
Yeah, the joy of it, and you guys are used to it because you've been better for a long, long time. Every game matters. Every week matters a tremendous amount. Every game that other contenders are playing matters. We're locked in last night.
Yes.
On that Thursday night game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we were locked into Lions and Cowboys last week. We're locked in every time. And the good news is Ben has built a really good culture that is focusing on play-by-play, week-by-week, and they'll just stay that way. Hopefully they'll stay nice and level, and all three of these games they can greet with intensity.
Our thanks to Matt Spiegel for jumping on. 2-6 on the score. We'll be listening with one ear to him and one ear to Sparky. Thank you so much for jumping on.
You got it, Mitch. Real pleasure.
Yep. Appreciate you. Let's have a good one tomorrow night.
That's right. Randall Cobb is next. That's right. Randall Cobb will be on the show, joining us right here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! This is the Mason Crosby Show. You want to rile up a room full of Bears fans, you just start chanting, go, Pack, go. We're here at the Brat stop in Kenosha. I love it. He's Mason Crosby. Tommy Wirtz is here. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. Our thanks again to Mr. Spiegel. That's right. Matt Spiegel from The Score jumped on, gave us the Bears perspective. But now to give us more of the winning perspective, the man who caught a fantastic fourth down pass in Chicago late one December night. He is the one, the only, Randall Cobb.
The Bears still suck.
Yes, get them fired up. Let's go.
For those of you who didn't hear, Randall Cobb just said, the Bears still suck. Woo!
Oh, Randall, hey, buddy, I appreciate you jumping on. I know y'all have Christmas parties at the kids' school, things going on, so I really appreciate it. But couldn't miss an opportunity to talk about some amazing moments that we had against the Bears. The one that comes to mind, and especially, last night, did you see that Rams-Seattle game?
Yes.
The backwards pass that ends up getting called. I was thinking about that, and I started looking up. I can't believe, and I didn't actually remember that. The Boykins, yeah. That was the same game that you caught the touchdown at the end to beat the Bears. So let's dive back 2013, get back in that memory bank. You came off an injury. You and Aaron both came back for that game, and it was for the division. Maybe one of the last times that the Bears and Packers have played a meaningful game in Soldier Field for the division in a sense. So kind of take us through that game, like what you remember from that moment. From that one where Aaron fumbles, Boykins takes it in for a touchdown, and then leading to your game-winning touchdown there at the end.
That was just such a crazy game. Just thinking back to it, everything that was on the line. I had been out for the past 10 weeks with a broken leg. That happened in the Baltimore game. Aaron was coming back from injury as well. That was the same year that Jermichael Family broke his neck.
Yeah,
there was just so many things that happened through that season, and to get down to the end of the year to have an opportunity to get into the playoffs at Soldier Field. I mean, that's what you play the game for, is for those type of moments. And I just remember the atmosphere being crazy, and I expect that's what it's going to be this weekend. I mean, like you said, this is the first time the Bears have been good in a really long time and have something to play for. So what better way for it to have so much implications on the end of the season and have an opportunity to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, let's go to that last play. We had some big moments against the Bears, whenever we were playing together there in Green Bay, but that last play of the game, I've been seeing stuff on it. It's like we drew that play up in the sand, like in the dirt, like all these things. Like, just talk about that last play, because I still remember you kind of hesitating on your route and then just like blowing by the slot and like the DB and putting your hand up right away. So just walk us through that last play.
Yes. So what's crazy, if you think about everything that led up to that, we had 2 fourth down conversions on that drive before that play. It was just like one of those gutsy drives where we had to go all the way down the field and give ourselves an opportunity. And then on that play, I mean, when you look back and you watch just the way that it all played out, and if you hear from Kuhn's perspective and what he had to do to change protections, Kuhn was trying to tell Aaron something, and then he ended up picking up Peppers on that play as he blitzed. Aaron was able to escape the pocket. I had a route that was supposed to be right at the sticks where Chris Conte was sitting. And like everything that happened in that moment, it's crazy to think that the play turned out the way that it did. But I just remember coming off the ball and knowing what my route was and seeing Chris Conti sit flat-footed right there and being like, I gotta take it. Like, this is a moment right here.
So as soon as you saw him kind of square and sit down, you were just like, oh, I'm going by him, right?
Well, I knew it was blitz zero. I saw just the way that they had rotated, and I knew that it was blitz zero, and there was going to be nobody in the back end back there. There was going to be no safety back there. If I was able to get past him, I know no other routes was going where I was going to be headed if I was to continue on. So just keeping all that in mind as that play went on. And what's really funny is I ran into Chris Conti at a charity event back in March, and he brought that up, and we were talking. That was the first time we had a conversation about it. And
no way!
It was so interesting to hear from their perspective, what their mindset was, and what forced them to change coverage on that play, because they actually made a coverage adjustment too right before the snap.
Oh, wow.
So it was crazy just to hear it all play out. But yeah, that was one of those moments that I just can still see when I close my eyes.
Oh, I think Mitch has something. Yep.
Yeah. Randall, you weren't there yet in 2011 when the Packers and Bears played in the NFC Championship game. I believe. Were you there? Were you on?
You came in the next year.
I was actually in Arizona training. I remember watching that at a bar. Yeah.
Yep. So you weren't there, but obviously in the game you're talking about, big part of it, and the Packers have had this sustained element of success. When Aaron Rodgers was there, and now to Jordan Love. The Bears much more inconsistent, up, down. Years they went 3-13. Years they went 10-6. What does it mean to this rivalry when both teams are good?
This is what it's all about. This is I think the premier rivalry in the NFL, if not all the sports. When both of these teams are playing at this type of level, having a 9-4-1 record, a 10-4 record, playing a game that matters, that has some kind of implications on who has the better season at the end of the year, right? Getting into the playoffs and having a chance, giving yourself an opportunity to go on for a Super Bowl. This is what it's all about, having these moments. And I honestly, when you look at Caleb Williams and the way that he's played and the way that he's transformed this season, I've been really surprised. Just him in the first year in Ben Jones' offense, being able to step in and lead them to where he is right now and giving them this opportunity.
Randall, I had a question for you in regards to stepping in. This was a huge injury week for the Green Bay Packers. You saw Micah Parsons go down. That was obviously grabbing all the headlines. And then they lose a lot of key foundational pieces. And Evan Williams, Zach Tom, the Christian Watson scare for an injury there. How is it stepping in to make up for someone? We had a caller call in with this question. How is it stepping in for someone in the middle of a season as opposed to it maybe in the beginning parts of the year when you've kind of gotten this rhythm going with Christian Watson being at the number one wide receiver? And if someone now has to come in at the back end of the year and try to be the next man up when they haven't really had a lot of opportunity until this point this season.
Good for them. They got an opportunity. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they can make the most of it, right? It's unfortunate that injuries are part of the game. They're going to happen. There's nothing you can do about it. When it happens, how it happens, how long the person's going to be out. Someone else is going to step into a role that they weren't getting the opportunity before for whatever the reason may be. Now they're going to have the opportunity to come in and show their ability and show what they're able to do. And I went through that. That was something that happened in 2012 when Greg Jennings went down, right? Greg got hurt, was out for a few weeks. I was able to step in, have some opportunities. I made the most of those opportunities. And at the end of the season, when Greg came back, they had to make a decision. Do we continue to roll with Randall, or do we find a way to, obviously get both of them on the field at the same time? And it gave me an opportunity to be able to show what I could do and have an opportunity to play a little bit more. So good for whoever that is going to step into those roles and be able to showcase what they can do and help this team find a way to win.
I love that, man. Randall Cobb joining the Mason Crosby show. Bear killer, great Green Bay Packer, good friend of mine. I do have to go back to that play. So you said in 2013, it's like, all right, you saw him sit down, you run by him, you knew no other receiver was going to be in that zone. It was kind of a free opportunity for you. We talk about this a lot, adjustments in games, guys stepping up. And I know they're in that wide receiver room with you and James Jones and Drive and Jordy. Like, was it like a common place where you felt like you should and know every wide receiver position? You need to know what the routes are if somebody gets hurt, so those adjustments, all of those things, because we saw it last week against Denver. Christian Watson goes out and it felt like that offense got a little disjointed at times. Like, what was the expectation in y'all's room for knowing your job and knowing the job of everyone else around?
Whenever I came into the league, like you said, I played with a lot of those great receivers that, like, I wanted to get on the field. And if I wanted to get on the field, I needed to know more. So I couldn't just know the F position. I needed to know the X position. I needed to know the Z position. So if anything happened, I would be confident in knowing that I could go in there and fulfill that role. That is something that we prided ourselves on, is not only like knowing the position, but knowing the scheme, knowing the play as a whole, understanding the progression of where you felt into the play, whether you were the number 1 read or you were the number 3 read, understanding that sometimes the route wasn't about me getting open, but it was about me capturing a defender so Aaron could read that defender and make the throw for the betterment of the team, right? So it's being able to see and understand that. And we took pride in being able to help each other, because we knew the more players that we have, the more guys that were able to make plays, the harder it was for defenses to be able to cover and take away one guy. When you look at like last night, that Rams game last night, there was a long period of time where Puka wasn't able to get any targets because they're playing cloud to him and taking him away. That's the difference in being able to have a Devontae Adams on the field or someone else that can help take that pressure off and be able to give him those opportunities to have those targets and those opportunities. So we took pride in that as a group and understanding what it meant to know the offense and not just your position.
I love that.
Randall
I love
Cobb.
that. Thunder, I think, has something.
Yep. Randall Cobb joining us on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Randall, earlier in your career, you returned punts quite a bit, and then as you became a bigger part of the offense, sometimes that goes away and other guys stepped in. But there was always that fan base that was like, well, Randall's, Cobb's better than everybody else who's returning punts. Why isn't he returning punts? And now fast forward to 2025, and the Packers have kind of like a disjointed punt return team where sometimes it's Dobbs, but like, should Dobbs really be the one doing it with his concussion history? Is it more important to be sure-handed or to have the opportunity, like we saw with Seattle last night, to have a big return sometimes in games? How do you, when you're playing and you're playing 96% of the offensive snaps or whatever that might be, versus when you're a rookie and you're not on the field and you'll do anything to get on the field? How do you view that contributions you can make on special teams? And from a team's perspective, how important is it that it's a sure-handed guy? How important is it that it's a guy who can get more than 4.2 yards a return, that can actually flip the field? How do you look at that punt return team?
It's always been situational for me. I've always viewed it in the aspect of what are we looking for in this moment at any given time. I always wanted to be back there on spot returns, even when I started playing a little bit more on offense. And the reason they moved me is because they thought it was more of a risk of injury, and then I ended up breaking my leg as a receiver. So I never really got hurt as a returner. Now kickoff returns was different. I was like, get me off of it. But punt return I always enjoy and I always love. I always looked at it, and Mason can talk a little bit more about this, as like the difference of a going in punt versus having more of a backed up punt. The mentality shifts whenever the returner has his foot on the 10-yard line and there's a going in punt, and most of the time those are going to be fair catches, and you know that they're going to be fair catches unless it's a miss hit and you get a short ball or a low line drive, which doesn't happen very often in those situations. So you want to have a sure-handed guy that's back there in those moments. But whenever you have that punter backed up and he's kicking from his own end zone and it's going to be a short field, that's one of those moments where you want to be a little bit more aggressive and get somebody that's going to be back there that maybe can make a few more guys miss and be able to give you better field position, if not take it all the way to the house. So it's just understanding where you are on the field and being able to fill the guy for that purpose and that need.
We got a question on the Nicolay Law fan talk and text line. I want to throw this out because I think it's a great question. Other than that 2013 moment, what was another personal favorite Packer Bear game you played in? This person from 4-4 said, personally, I love the Aaron Rodgers after halftime injury return where you caught that long touchdown pass after we were down 20-3 at half. But are there any other Bear memories, moments that stick out in your mind?
Those two for sure are top for me. 2013 and then 2018 when we came back after injury. One that probably no one really talks about, and it didn't involve me, but it was just a game that I look back and I'm like, man, that was such a good game, and that was such a fun atmosphere. I want to say it was 2017 when Jordy had the long catch he ran a post route long catch. He slid right after the catch. We banged the timeout. You came in and kicked the game winner. I want to say that was freezing that day. Was that 2017? It was freezing. It was so cold. I feel like the wind was blowing. I feel like there were so many elements in that game.
That might have been 2016
was
season.
2016?
I think Jake Shum was the holder. I always think of seasons from who was snapping and holding at the time.
As we all do, Mason. That's
I know you do. Yeah. I mean, everyone has to have something that triggers their memory, and I'm getting older. My memory's slipping a little bit. So
Randall, that's how kickers think, Randall.
I'm with him. I put it together too. I said 2017 because I knew Jordy wasn't there in 2018. I know it was like
there you go. Exactly.
Randall, I have a question in regards to that. You were a part of some of the most insane wide receiver rooms maybe out there of all time, and let alone Packers history. How was it? Did you guys treat it like it was competition always, or a support system always? I imagine it being like Alabama is playing a team and they're doing rock, paper, scissors to see who gets the touchdown route at some points during the year. And other times you're really looking for advice and someone to pick you up if you're not living up to that hype.
Yeah. I mean, those, I would say it's hard for me because I feel like coming in as a rookie, my first year in 2011, that room was just so special. Donald Driver being the legend that he was. Greg Jennings was playing at a Pro Bowl caliber year in and year out. Jordy came into his own in 2011 where he basically took over everything. Me and JJ, we were on the sidelines being the ones that were rotating in with Jordy at the time. That was such a fun year. And then you look at 2014 when we drafted Tay, and Tay comes in and we see the flashes of what he is and who he is, but he was dealing with ankle injuries and dealing with a bunch of different things. And just to see his growth and development over those years, we had some really, really, really good times, really, really fun times and great groups. I remember in 2011, we got in trouble by the league because we were like not betting, but we were holding each other to a standard. If you dropped the pass, then it was $100 gift card to everybody in the receiving room. So we ended up somehow that got out in the public, and the NFL wrote us a letter and told us that we weren't allowed to do that.
Yeah,
it was like that was the standard that was held. And we would be watching the film after games no, that was a drop. That touched your fingertips. You should have had that one.
I imagine Devontae Adams as a rookie was just like, this is a stupid game. I hate this game the entire time.
Oh, for sure.
Set it up for him, and hey, he got rid of those drops. I mean, y'all got him right. I want to add a couple, maybe a two-part quarterback question. You talked about, and from Tommy's question about playing for each other and doing all that. And you're talking about knowing the scheme and all those. How often was it though? were there sales pitches in those rooms in the offensive meetings trying to get a play that was designed for you, and like, obviously getting in Aaron's, on his side, or like, trying to talk to Mike or, offensive coordinator and be like, hey, like this sets up better for me in this situation. Was there any of that kind of in the backroom stuff?
Oh, all the time. That's what receivers do, right? If you want the ball, you got to go talk to the quarterback about it and figure it out. I don't know if you remember, Mason, but every Saturday we used to have those 2-minute drills before we did walkthrough.
Yep.
And we were we made up a lot of those plays. Like those were like our fun sessions, right? We would have like a simulated 2-minute against the scout team where we would make up random plays.
Who could come up with the best play that Aaron felt good about?
We would do that. And then like the second time it would be like we would have TJ Lane at quarterback and I'm playing left guard. So we just but those moments were a lot of times we were like, oh man, that was like, that actually worked. We should like try that in practice and see if we can get that put into the game. So that was a lot of times where we had some fun and that kind of led into plays that ended up in the playbook.
That's why 2-minute was always so exciting and fun, because that's what y'all made it. You made it entertaining and fun, and y'all were just out there playing backyard ball and like finding ways to get open and create things. Last question before we let you go, Randall. What do you think of Jordan Love's play this year? Obviously, I think we talk about him a lot. He's taken some really positive steps in his progression. From your perspective, watching the games, watching him grow over these first 3 years as the starter, what's your take on Jordan Love and how he's playing right now?
It's been incredible to see. I've been very impressed with his play, who he is, how he's continued to grow in LaFleur's offense. I've been impressed. Obviously there's some moments where I'm sure, he would go back and watch film and say the same thing, that he wished would have been a little differently and that he would have handled it or made a different decision. But he's played really well. And especially here down the stretch, he knows what it takes in November, December football to put the team in position to give them an opportunity. I think as Packer fans, there's an expectation every week that our quarterback is going to perform at a certain level. And whenever it takes a little bit of a dip, even if it's for a week or two, we start to question a lot of things. And I think that we need to be reminded of we got things pretty good, and we got a pretty good guy back there that's throwing the ball, and he understands the system and he understands what he's trying to accomplish. And there's a lot of things that's happened this season. I mean, when you think about someone like Bo, right? Bo Melton's come in after being moved to corner and had to play receiver again. Those kind of things, he hasn't had those opportunities to really work with Jordan and really to understand some of those different nuances in the offense. So whenever you have guys like Christian that's missed time and been out, having the injuries with Golden missing a few games, and Romeo coming in and out of the lineup, it makes it really difficult as a quarterback when you don't have your guys out there.
Awesome, Randall. All right, prediction for this game as the Packers face off against the Bears tomorrow night, and then we'll let you go.
You know what time it is. The Packers are coming through with a big victory down at Soldier Field, 28-17 final score.
Yep. I told them, I said they probably have the goats out there on Soldier Field eating their grass, just like the patchy hay that they lay down there every December. It's so nasty. Randall, I really appreciate you, man. Tell everybody hi. Have an awesome Christmas. Let's get together soon. And, whether families or, we got to get out and golf some more.
Yes. It's starting to get cold down here, so we're going to have to go to the simulator now.
All right, let's do it. I'm waiting for that. Yeah, just send that invite. I'll be over there anytime.
Let's do it.
All right, later.
Awesome. Thank you, Randall. That's Randall Cobb, all-time great wide receiver for our Green Bay Packers, chiming in on this Packers-Bears week. We're at the Brat Stop in Kenosha. We're sponsored by Ziegler Subaru of Kenosha and by Siding Unlimited. We're having a blast down here at the Brat Bowl. As we can see, 670 of the scores. They're little rinky-dink setup over there. Whatever. Mikey Henninger with Basement Brute Fantasy Football is going to come up next. Get your fantasy football questions in. It is playoff week. So 414-677-1250. I've got I've got 1, 2, 3 questions that I need to ask him. 414-677-1250. We're going to go rapid fire questions this week with Mikey Henninger, basementbrewedff.com. Get your questions in next. Again, thanks to Randall Cobb for joining us on the guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. He's Tommy, he's Mason, I'm Thunder. This is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Because we know who the real ones are. We are the real ones on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. I'm Mitch Nellis. He's Mason Crosby. Tommy Wirtz is here. Mason, you are a real one.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I just went and checked on the kids. You know, they're just still not in school, Tommy. They're not
never
in school.
Never are. Kids don't go
so they're
school
hanging
anymore.
out. We got to get Mikey on because I have so many fantasy football questions. I wish I could hurt the person I'm playing because they break their fingers so they can't make any changes because I literally my season's over after last night.
All right, Mikey Henninger, Basement Proof Fantasy Football, joining us here on the on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. Mikey, how you doing, man?
We're just out here talking physical violence in the fantasy football game.
Yeah, well, do you offer that service in the Basement Brood? If you're a subscriber, do you offer mob style services?
That's how this whole thing got started, but we're not doing that anymore. We're out of
okay. All right. You've cleaned it up. Yeah. You've gone legit. I get it.
Had to clean up.
All right, Mason, kick us off.
All right. So this has been my issue all season. It's so I'm in the playoffs, the quarterfinals, and the other guy, I'm projected, mind you, before last night's game to win by 20 points. And then Matthew Stafford and Kenneth Walker. Walker, go bananas and Kenneth Walker. He hasn't done anything. Rams don't give up touchdowns. They don't do it. They don't give up stuff to the running backs.
Yeah.
I sit Charbonnet because he hadn't done anything. He gets me, he gets 15 points on my bench. So I'm in a disaster situation right here. I started making changes. I'm tinkering. I'm trying to add players late. So I don't know. This is a wild thing. I have Pittsburgh and New Orleans defense, and I'm thinking the only chance I have to maybe get an advantage on defense because they had Seattle's defense didn't get a lot. I'm playing New Orleans. They've actually been doing all right lately. They have a great matchup against the Jets. Do you think that's smart?
Well, first of all, man, let me tell you, don't panic. I don't know if you guys remember the Alvin Kamara Christmas game a couple years ago. He had 5 touchdowns. It was 6.
Yeah.
It was it was something wild. It was in the fantasy football championships. I went up against him. It was on Christmas. My whole Christmas is ruined. Gave all my kids coal because I was sold, just angry. I ended up winning that game. So the point is, hang in there. You might be totally fine. What does your projection say now? You said you were projected 20 to start with.
Somehow my projections have gone down, comparatively. I think I was projected to have 140 points. Now I'm at 129. I'm why are my players getting projected to be worse than they initially were?
They're just Drake May, dejected about the Kenneth Walker thing. Yeah. Yeah,
it broke our soul. So I have Drake May. I have an awesome lineup. So if I lose this matchup, I'm just going to feel it's going to be ridiculous. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, Waddle, McCaffrey, Gainwell, Goddard, Higgins, Boswell, and New Orleans as my starting lineup. You're not going to lose, dude.
You're not going to lose. You're going to win this one. And to answer your question, the Saints are literally the number 3 team on my defensive streamers cheat sheet.
All right.
The only 2 that I would rather have over them are the Houston Texans against Geno Smith and the Raiders, and the Buffalo Bills against Shedeur Sanders and the Browns. After that, it's the Saints.
So that was a good pickup then, because I just picked them up. All
right. Mikey Henninger joining us, 414-677-1250. Get your questions in to the Nicolay Law Talking text line. I'm going to go rapid fire. Joe Burrow versus Caleb Williams. I don't care what it is. I feel like I got to bench Caleb. I don't want to play him against the Packers just because. I mean, it might be a better matchup. I just that's the heart versus the head situation.
Nah, Burrow is the better talent, the better matchup. Possible shootout with Miami. Well, maybe not. It's not Tua anymore. We'll see what happens with Quinn Ewers, but I would be going Burrow there.
Running back for the New York Giants, Tracy or Singletary or stay away? If Josh Jacobs doesn't play, I have Josh Jacobs, so I should be fine. But if something happens and Jacobs doesn't play, I have to go with one of those 2.
Yeah, the backfield tilted very heavily in Tyron Tracy's direction last week, so Singletary's out of the equation if we go off last week's data. But he's in an okay spot this week. There's not a lot to love. There's not a lot to hate. The Vikings are a very mediocre matchup for running backs. That game is kind of a mediocre game. There's nothing terrifying, but there's nothing particularly exciting either.
And then Travion Henderson versus Travis Etienne zone.
Oh, man. Well, shoot, man. I'm the biggest Travion Henderson truther there is, but that backfield is, no matter how good Travion Henderson plays, they keep getting Ramondre Stevenson involved. We keep waiting for Henderson to pull away, and it just doesn't happen. Meanwhile, the Jaguars are going to be without Bashal Tootin. Travis Etienne should get all of the work he can possibly handle, but he's going up against Denver, and Denver is literally the toughest defense in football when it comes to stopping running backs in fantasy football. So that one, my man, that is super tough. I mean, Travion Henderson is going to bring you so much upside this week. Possible shootout with the Ravens. Ravens are giving up the 11th most PPR points per game to running backs. I'd say if you're swinging for the fences, you got to go with a ceiling play. Henderson's going to be that guy. Travis Etienne this week is going to be more of that tons of touches. He should get 20 plus touches, but he might only get, maybe 80 yards against Denver. So that's going to be more of a floor play than a ceiling play.
Okay, we got some questions on the Nicolay Law fan talking text line. Dana says, I'm in a championship league and really need to win, as we all do. Brock Bowers hasn't been doing much for me, and it seems like it's not a great matchup for him, but my other person is Fannin. Who do I play? Fannin.
I don't even know who Fannin is, bro.
Harold.
Harold
no
Fannin,
ball.
man.
No ball, Mitch.
Dude, Harold Fannin is... He's only a top 10 tight end this year. It's not a big deal. But
who is Fannin?
Don't know.
Don't know him.
He's the late night host, right? Jimmy Fannin?
No. Jimmy
Fannin. So here's the thing, guys. I mean, honestly, both of those guys are in pretty identical situations this week. They're both heavy underdogs, right? The Raiders are 14-point underdogs against the Texans. The Browns are 10.5-point underdogs against the Bills. So that tells us both teams are going to be throwing the ball a ton. The problem is neither team is expected to score many points. Neither the Browns nor the Raiders are expected to score even 16 points this week. And they both have impossible matchups. The Bills...
Get yourself a new tight end, Dana.
Well, hang on. The Bills literally are the toughest matchup in fantasy football against tight ends, but the Texans aren't far behind. They're the 10th. They hold tight ends to the 10th fewest PPR points per game. So if it's me, I don't think there's not many scenarios where you can bench Brock Bowers. Now, Harold Fannin has been an absolute beast this year, but I can't picture myself this week benching Brock Bowers to get Harold Fannin in the game.
All right, we got another question on there from the 208. Herbert or Love?
Tommy, you want to take this one, Tommy?
You just fade Justin Herbert. Oh, I listen to Mikey's advice first, but if you want to talk about who I will never support you playing, Justin Herbert.
So I'm going to go ahead and say the opposite.
Sorry, take that, Tommy.
Tommy. Look, hey, I'm Team Go Pack Go through and through. I love the Jordan Love jersey that Tommy's sporting this week, and he's got a great matchup. But, going against the Chicago Bears, that game could be a little bit of a shootout. But man, you got Chargers, Cowboys. I can't emphasize to you guys enough how miserable the Cowboys are against quarterbacks this year, just in general. They are allowing the most passing yards per game, most passing touchdowns per game, most quarterback rushing touchdowns per game. And we know Justin Herbert loves to take off with the football. And of course, they're allowing the most fantasy points per game. That game has an over-under of, where was it? 49.5. Should be a bit of a shootout. Yeah, both teams are projected to score 24 or more points. I mean, Herbert's got that broken hand, and he's been in a little bit of a slump lately, but I'd have a really tough time benching Justin Herbert this week.
Oh, I wouldn't. Not because I like Jordan Love's matchup. I refuse to be in any sort of positive realm for Justin Herbert.
Tommy, you're gonna love your Christmas gift then, Tommy.
Oh, you did not.
Yes,
you did not.
Tommy, you would never have Herbert on your fantasy team to begin with.
No, I would draft the Chargers water boy. I would draft Jim Harbaugh, see if he suits up before.
You would have Shedeur Sanders on your team.
You should be asking Mikey if it's Phillip Rivers or Justin Herbert this week, if you were asking me. So
all right, Phillip Rivers or Justin Herbert, Mikey, let's go.
Yeah.
Can anyone start Phillip Rivers this week?
The only people that can start Phillip Rivers this week are the people who have like Gardner Minshew, Geno Smith.
Like he's starting for the Chiefs, right?
Yeah, he's starting for the Chiefs, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it's bottom 8, bottom 10 for Phillip Rivers this week.
We we need a league with fantasy punishments to like say that if you lose your fantasy football league, you have to use your first round pick on Phillip Rivers next year.
That's it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, then you lose next year too.
Mikey, is it wrong that I want to play in a 10-man fantasy league where you have to start 3 quarterbacks? Like I just want every quarter. I want because there's 32 teams,
right?
So you almost every quarterback. Like who's starting for Miami this week?
That would actually be kind of fun. Actually,
Quinn
now
Ewers.
that I think of it, that would be fun.
Yeah, I want Quinn Ewers to be. What percentage of fantasy teams in America are starting Quinn Ewers this week?
It's only the really deep super flex leagues. I mean, you got to be scraping the bottom of the barrel for sure. Or Brady Cook. But I think it's interesting. I'm always down for unique fantasy leagues. The only thing I would recommend in that situation is that instead of picking individual quarterbacks, you pick team quarterbacks. So
no, you don't get bailed out. You don't get bailed out if your quarterback sucks.
So if you had Tua and he's just benched, so you would have to handcuff your quarterback, is what you're saying. I see. All right, that's fair.
Yeah, generally, yeah.
I like it.
Figure
that's
that
fine.
out.
Do it.
Any other last minute playoff advice? Any other guy who like is there some injury or a replacement that's going to skew leagues in these next 2 weeks? We see that every once in a while. I don't know that anybody like nobody stepped up for the Rams in place of Devontae Adams last night. Is there anybody who's going to step up like that this week?
Yeah, there's a couple, and keep in mind, this is just whatever randomly comes to mind. So the Saints backfield is an absolute nightmare this week, but somebody in that backfield is going to at least get some touches. The Saints are actually projected to win, which almost never happens this year. They're 6-point favorites over the Jets. The Jets are allowing the 3rd most PPR points per game to running backs. However, the Saints running backs this week look like they're going to be Audric Estime, a cast-off from the Denver Broncos from last year, and Evan Hull, a cast-off from the Colts from 2 years back. They basically split time and touches last week. It was pretty ugly, and it's probably going to be pretty ugly this week, but both of those guys are good bets to get double-digit touches in a great matchup in a game that the Saints should be able to control the ball and control the clock. If you're desperate for a play at running back, or at least in the flex, you can go grab either one of those guys off the waiver wire, throw them in your lineup, and see what happens. But other than that, dude, Green Bay has got to watch out for Colston Loveland tomorrow. Without Luther Burden, without Rome Odunze, Colston Loveland could be a problem.
Oh, Dana should pick up Loveland.
Nah, not over Brock Bowers. But yeah,
all right.
But yeah, Colston Loveland is. I mean, dude, no Micah Parsons. They are going like. It can't be overstated how significant that is, right? Theoretically, quarterbacks are going to have more time in the pocket to pick apart the Packers defense. Colston Loveland's got a big opportunity. He's going to be a problem. If you need a wide receiver, Olamide Zaccheaus is worth a look, but not a lot of upside there. There's a lot of different ways we can go with this, depending on how much time we get.
And then, tell everybody listening who has, not been listening on the show before on Friday, like, what do you have going this weekend? You got something tomorrow, obviously, with some Saturday games. Like, how can they find you? How can they get that inside information before this weekend kicks off?
Yeah, so I'm actually getting pretty active on Twitter again, which I kind of abandoned for a while. So if anybody wants to hang out on Twitter, I'm at BBFF Mikey. Would love to hang out with you over there. But other than that, everything that I do is posted on my website, basementbrewedff.com. And then every Sunday morning at 8 a.m., I do a live fantasy football show on my YouTube channel, Basement Brewed Fantasy Football on YouTube, where basically I just answer as many start-sit questions as I possibly can. With this being the week before the championship, you guys can imagine there's a ton of questions that people have. So those are typically the places that I'm hanging out. And actually tomorrow, I don't do this often, but tomorrow at noon on Reddit, in the fantasy football Reddit, I will be doing a live Q&A start-sit session at noon Central tomorrow. So if people are on Reddit,
nice,
love it.
Literally, if you're on the internet, you can find Mikey.
Yeah, just be on the internet at some point.
Anywhere else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
BasementBrewedFF.com is where you can find all the links. BasementBrewedFF.com. Follow him on Twitter. Find him on LinkedIn. Find him on Reddit. All the great places. Mikey, good luck this weekend. Thanks so much for jumping on, and we'll talk to you next week as we get closer and closer to Fantasy Championship weekend.
You got it, guys. Go Pack Go.
All right. Appreciate you,
That's
Mikey.
right. Let's go. Mikey Henninger at BBFF Mikey on all the socials. We will come back to wrap things up here. little Mason's extra points. We got some shout outs to make. We're looking into the weekend. We are ready for tomorrow night. He's Mason Crosby. He's Tommy Wirtz. I'm Mitch Nellis, a.k.a. Thunder. This is the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today?
Now I'm thinking.
It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis.
Tell me what's on your mind.
On the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
What's up? What a great week. It is Bears-Packers week for the second time in the last 3 weeks, and I'm excited for tomorrow night. I'm going to tell you that much. Getting ready for Christmas. Appreciate the two of you. Mitch, drive safely on your travels. Tommy, just keep ruling the world. Just keep doing your thing. I know you're taking over the station. I did see this interesting thing on Instagram. 49ers, if they win out, they clinch the number 1 seed. With Seattle winning last night. Yeah, so
they're in third place.
So that makes it wild. This game even more important for the Bears, right? Because Bears lose on Saturday, Bears lose against the Niners. They could be playing Lions for a playoff spot. So this just got a little more interesting. I didn't even realize that the Niners had that kind of pathway to that 1 seed. Sure. So things don't even have to happen. They just have to win out because they play the Seahawks that last game. So the last 3 weeks are going to be awesome. I'm here for all of it.
Chaos.
I love the chaos. Let's get it going.
Real quick, want to give a shout out to Little Rumble, who had a solo today in the holiday concert at school. And I was very nervous about it. Practiced for like half an hour in the shower last night. Nice. You know, those good shower acoustics.
I sound amazing. So I've thought about going into singing in the from like some of my shower song sets, but the kids.
Well, you got that deep voice too, Mason.
They tell me no whenever I sing in real life.
They're wrong. I want to thank everybody here at the Brat Stop, especially the Packers fans, for doing an awesome job here. To represent, we might be the minority, but we are the vocal minority, and we just have the better team.
That's right.
So happy holidays to everybody.
The Bears do still suck, and the Packers are coming home with a victory.
Thank you. Enjoy the game tomorrow night. We'll be back on Monday. Tommy and Sparky with the post-game show on tomorrow night. And,
yes, sir.
Just like, as it should be.
Just keep doing your thing.
Let's keep it rolling, baby.
All right. Appreciate everybody. Have a great weekend and happy holidays. We'll talk to you next week.
I was